Y&R Spoilers reveal the clouds are heavy. The atmosphere in Genoa City seems to thicken, signaling a big storm is forming not only outside but also in the hearts of each character. Every step, every decision, every silent glance contains secrets, hidden conspiracies like an iceberg that no one knows when it will resurface and destroy everything. In that context, Phyllis Summers does not accept being an outsider to the power play, especially when she witnesses Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra seeming to be carefree, thinking that they have avoided all legal storms, even giving themselves the right to judge or stand above the pain of others. For Phyllis, that is unacceptable. Pride and the wounds in her heart make her swear that Billy will have to pay, not only for the mistakes he made to her in the past but also for the way he is scheming, circumventing the law, pushing all the trouble onto others. Phyllis's revenge plan was never spontaneous. On the surface, there might be rage or sarcastic criticism, but underneath, there were always cold, calculated steps. She began to set goals for a new project, cleverly attracting Daniel, her son, who was teetering on the edge of guilt, loss, and forgiveness. Daniel had just lost Heather in a bloody tragedy. His mind was still not able to calm down. The darkness of the past still haunted him every night. Every time he closed his eyes, the images of guilt, the screams of the victims echoed back to haunt him. Phyllis, even though she was a mother, could not help but selfishly hope to be able to pull Daniel into her plan, with the blind belief that a new goal, a new battle would help her son escape the demons inside. But Daniel is no longer the boy he once was. His heart has been hurt too much, enough to realize that if he continues to get caught up in calculations and power games, he will never have peace. Daniel rejects his mother, gently but firmly, urging her to find her own path, to let him face the consequences and heal his wounds. The maternal love in that moment is both close and distant. When each person is alone on their journey, no one can save anyone, only themselves. However, the survival instinct and ambition make Phyllis never sit still. Her curiosity and sensitivity lead her to overhear a tense exchange between Billy and an associate about the plan to use Dumas, a mysterious and powerful figure in the financial world, to attack Victor Newman, with Chancellor Industries as the ultimate target. Phyllis understands that in these wars, no one is an outsider. As soon as she realized the delicious bait, she did not hesitate to steal Billy's phone, secretly exploiting Dumas' contact information, believing that she would use her quick wit and inside knowledge of Billy to negotiate with Victor, hoping to find a new foothold for both her and Daniel on the Genoa City power chessboard. But Victor Newman was not an easy person to fool. Facing a calculating Phyllis, he still coldly extinguished all ideas, brushing aside the half-baked business opportunities she proposed. For Victor, anyone who tried to bargain with other people's secrets was just a weakling, and he never bowed to such people. Being rejected did not discourage Phyllis. She decided to approach Dumas directly. However, instead of meeting Dumas, she was blocked right at the door by an assistant. A true iron door of the capitalist world where only true power could open the next gate. In a bind, Phyllis is suddenly confronted by a new opponent she never expected. Amanda Sinclair, who has disappeared from Genoa City, now appears with a vengeance, revealing herself to be Dumas's legal representative, and is not afraid to question Phyllis about her efforts to approach her boss. Amanda's appearance is like a bombshell that turns the tables, puts Phyllis on the defensive, and forces her to recalculate her entire move. Amanda not only represents Dumas, but also carries secrets, deep knowledge of everyone in this city, and she is ready to drop the Dumas bomb if she feels it is necessary. In the following days, Phyllis became more pensive, somewhat lonely within the cold walls of the luxurious but empty apartment. She began to confide more in Nick Newman, who had been her support, the man who had given her both love and hurt. Nick listened, without judgment, always ready to lend her a shoulder whenever she needed a support, even though his relationship with Sharon was still an unbreakable bond. That silence and care made Sharon even more suspicious, her heart filled with hidden waves of jealousy when witnessing the increasing intimacy between Nick and Phyllis. Sharon was a sensitive person, having gone through many storms in life, understanding that what was happening was not simply a conversation between two old friends. The passing glances, the thoughtfulness in Nick's eyes, all were like warning signs of an emotional storm, a great change that was gradually forming that no one could control. Meanwhile, Daniel continues to struggle with his inner turmoil, watching his mother get drawn deeper and deeper into dangerous schemes. Daniel clearly feels the invisible pressure weighing on his shoulders, between the desire to protect his mother, and the fear of being dragged back into the abyss of mistakes. He follows Phyllis's every step, sometimes helpless, sometimes angry, but deep inside is love and the fear of losing his mother like he lost Heather. The pieces of Daniel's life keep pushing and colliding, creating deep cracks that cannot heal. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott is immersed in the ecstasy of victory. He believes he can control everything, manipulating both Aristotle Dumas and Victor Newman with his own tricks. But Billy does not know that secrets will always be exposed one day. It is this subjectivity that makes him the ideal target for Phyllis's revenge, the woman he has never fully understood. Standing on the thin line of power, Billy also cannot help but worry about the return of Amanda Sinclair, a shrewd woman who always knows how to push the opponent into a dead corner with a few seemingly harmless moves. Amanda, as Dumas' representative, is not simply the person behind the negotiations. She carries secrets that can change the entire power chessboard of Genoa City. Her return not only confuses Phyllis but also makes Billy realize that any decision he makes can be used as a double-edged sword, ready to turn around and destroy all the achievements he has worked so hard to build. Amanda's every move is carefully calculated, every look, every word, every action contains a hidden message for those who are plotting to overthrow Dumas or use him as a tool. Behind the scenes, Victor Newman quietly observes everything. He is not in a hurry, does not show emotions, but is the one who holds the most secrets. For Victor, any chaos in Genoa City can be turned into an advantage, as long as he knows how to turn it around. Approached by Phyllis with information stolen from Billy, Victor understands the value of information and the value of silence, always knowing how to make the opponent reveal more hidden cards. He waits for the right moment to intervene, ready to make the decisive move when everyone's position on the board is clear. While the smoldering storms are forming and ready to explode at any time, none of them realize that those secrets and conspiracies are the strings that bind each other's fate, pulling them closer together in obsession, suspicion, and insecurity. Phyllis, in the whirlwind of revenge, may accidentally push Daniel into a new tragedy. Billy, who seems to have controlled the game, is at risk of losing everything because of a small mistake. Amanda, with her blockbuster Dumas, is ready to expose the truth if she feels her interests are threatened. Victor, quietly but never taking his eyes off the game, is always prepared to strike when everything is in the most favorable position for him. And far away, under the cover of peace, Genoa City is preparing to welcome a new storm. A storm of hatred, lies, betrayal and secrets that must never be revealed. That is when each character must choose, continue to rush into the vortex of competition, or courageously face the pain and seek true liberation for themselves. But with Genoa City, it seems that no one can retreat safely. Every choice has a price, sometimes honor, sometimes love, and sometimes the future they have always dreamed of. In the gloomy days of Genoa City, when the fog of mystery still lingers around every corner, a series of tense events continue to swirl around the lives of those who once thought they had weathered the storm. Amanda Sinclair, with her calm, intelligent and discreet appearance, has increasingly made those around her more skeptical than ever. Although she always tries to maintain the image of a wise and objective lawyer, Amanda's cold caution is the seat of all suspicions. Not a single look, word, or gesture of hers can escape the observation of those who are used to living in an environment full of calculations like Genoa City. Sally Spectra, who is sensitive to the changes of those around her, quickly realizes that Amanda is hiding something. Curiosity and a strong survival instinct urge Sally to find out the secret hidden behind Amanda's calm appearance. Sally doesn't let any small detail slip by, be it a sideways glance, an ambiguous answer, or Amanda's unusual silence during a conversation. An unease begins to form inside Sally, pushing her deeper into her quest for the truth. For Sally, in a world where alliances are fragile and secrets can be turned into weapons, understanding what Amanda is trying to hide is the key to protecting herself and those she loves. On the other side of the city, Billy Abbott is overwhelmed with his own doubts and insecurities. At first, Billy thought Aristotle Dumas was just a pawn that he could easily manipulate on the chessboard of power. But the deeper Billy gets, the more he realizes that things are not as simple as he thought. Aristotle Dumas is not the type of person who can be manipulated. Every move of his is meticulously calculated, every promise, every handshake contains hidden meanings that not everyone is subtle enough to realize. Billy's fear gradually grows as he begins to suspect that he is just a small pawn in a much more complex plan, where all resistance is hopeless. Billy tries to learn more about Dumas, but the deeper he digs, the more he encounters cold walls of silence and cover-up. Billy realizes that he himself is being drawn into a dangerous game, and if he is not careful, he will be the one to pay the highest price. Phyllis Summers, with her inherent pride and bravery, has never been one to sit idly by while others manipulate her fate. Although she has tried every way to seek help, even the most illegitimate ways, to get a meeting with Aristotle Dumas, in the end Phyllis has only received disappointment. Amanda kept trying to stop Phyllis, urging her to give up, while insisting that Dumas was not interested in any meetings. Under the guise of professionalism, Amanda kept a safe distance, not allowing Phyllis any chance to get closer, while protecting Dumas completely. For Phyllis, this only made her more suspicious and determined not to give up. She understood that the more forbidden the secret, the more worth pursuing. In Phyllis's mind, the feeling of being controlled was the biggest motivation for her to break through, to go to the truth, no matter what the cost. At the same time, Amanda continued to actively defend Dumas publicly, and also tried to reassure Abby Newman, who was increasingly uncertain about Winter's future. Amanda assured Abby that Dumas' every move was aimed at protecting Winters, but Abby still could not be reassured. For Abby, the corporate world is never a safe place, every promise can turn into a lie, and every protection can be an elaborate trap. Abby is constantly torn between her desire to protect her loved ones and her fear of losing control over the hidden forces that are quietly manipulating Winter's destiny. While the secrets of Dumas are still being revealed, Lauren Fenmore Baldwin struggles with anxiety about her marriage. Lauren once believed that after all the storms, she and Michael Baldwin could find peace, but the undercurrents are always lurking to destroy everything. She clearly feels the distance between her and Michael growing, especially as he becomes more and more involved in power struggles with Victor Newman. Lauren tries to hold on, but the more she tries, the more helpless she becomes against the cold wall that Michael has intentionally or unintentionally built. Meanwhile, Michael Baldwin continues to fall into a spiral of tension, pushed to the limit of his endurance when Victor constantly puts pressure, even uses implicit threats to force Michael to stand on his side. Between Michael and Victor, the confrontation gradually loses control. Every word, every decision becomes a fire that can burn down any alliance. Michael clearly understands that if he continues to stick with Victor, he will forever be caught up in endless battles, where all loyalties are only temporary, and every betrayal is paid for with loneliness, even irreparable loss. Physical and mental exhaustion makes Michael begin to doubt the value of what he has done and is doing. He wonders if it is worth staying by Victor's side, protecting a man who never stops when his power is threatened. Or should Michael choose another path, where he can find peace for himself and save what is left of his marriage with Lauren? Standing at a crossroads, Michael is tormented and hesitant between two difficult choices. On one side is the feeling of duty and loyalty to the person who helped him rise in a world full of traps. On the other side is the weak call of family happiness, of a wife who is gradually moving away from him because she no longer believes in her husband's love and choice. When Michael is at risk of leaving Victor, all the balance in the world of power in Genoa City also begins to shake. If Michael really gives up, there will no longer be any barrier strong enough to prevent Victor from losing control in his feud with the Abbott family. The loss of the last restraint will open the door to a series of new conspiracies, making the war between Victor and the Abbotts more fierce and uncompromising than ever. Victor is a man who refuses to accept defeat, but he also knows that without an ally like Michael, he will face more danger, because his enemies have never been fewer, and now, they have more reason to rise up. Across Genoa City, each character is secretly plotting for themselves, torn between ambition, fear, love and betrayal. Amanda becomes increasingly mysterious, making those around her unable to help but suspect her true motives. Sally, with a strong survival instinct, is determined not to be left behind, always ready to face any challenge to protect herself and those she loves. Billy is filled with doubt and insecurity, realizing that power never comes easily, and that he can be turned into a victim at any time. Phyllis still fights, despite all obstacles, because she knows that if she does not dare to cross the line, she will never be able to find justice for herself. Abby is forever uncertain, wondering if she is strong enough to protect the people she loves from the increasingly fierce storm. Lauren is tormented by the fear of losing her husband, losing the peaceful years she once believed she had built. Michael is torn between duty and love, facing the most difficult choice of his life, to hold on to power and loyalty to Victor, or to let go and find a part of his lost soul. Meanwhile, Victor Newman, despite always maintaining a calm and authoritative appearance, cannot help but feel anxious about the constant changes happening around him. Genoa City is once again on the brink of new undercurrents. Every secret, every lie, every decision, no matter how small, can create a chain reaction, breaking the most fragile alliances. The future of Winters, the balance between the powerful families, and even individual survival, now depends on how each person confronts their own fears and ambitions. In this storm, no one knows whether they will emerge victorious or be the next victim, swept away by a tide of betrayal, lies, and untold secrets.